Ladies and gentlemen, can everybody please find a seat and silence the cell phones? Shh, folks, so you can please find seats. Thank you so much. At this time, would any non-council employees, if you're on the main floor, please make your way up to the balcony? Thank you. Is NYC Media ready? Make sure NYC Media. At this time, can all folks participating in the meeting, could you please set your cell phones to vibrate? Any non-council staff, please make your way upstairs to the balcony. Thank you so much. Sergeant, you good? We're ready to go.
Good afternoon and welcome to the stated meeting of September 25, 2025. I am Majority Leader Amanda Farias and I'd like to thank you for joining us. If you would like to follow along, the agenda for today's meeting is posted on our website. On behalf of the body, I welcome the members of the public who have joined us today. During stated meetings, only members of the council may speak. Members of the public shall remain silent. If you wish to express your support of any remarks, you may make the silent approval gesture. I want to remind my colleagues that decorum is to be respected at all times. Insulting each other is not appropriate. All remarks are to be addressed to the chair and members shall not speak unless recognized by the chair. It is essential that even if we disagree, we treat each other with respect. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call. Abreu.
Present.
Aviles.
Presente.
Ayala.
Still here.
Banks.
Present.
Botcher.
Here.
Brannon.
Here.
Brewer.
Alive.
Brooks Powers. Caban.
Present.
Carr. De La Rosa.
Here.
Dinowitz.
Here.
Felder.
Here.
Feliz.
Here.
Gennaro.
Here.
Gutierrez.
Presente.
Hanif. Hanks.
Here. Present.
Holden.
Holden.
Hudson.
Present.
Joseph.
Present.
Krishnan.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Lewis. Marmorato.
Present.
Holden.
Here. Do you hear me?
Thank you.
Marte.
Here.
Mealy. Menon.
Here.
Morano. Moya. Narcisse.
Present.
Moya, that was a yes also.
That's, yes, present.
Nurse.
Here.
Ose. Palladino.
Here.
Powers.
Here.
Wrestler.
Here.
Riley.
Present.
Salam.
Present.
Salamanca.
Present.
Sanchez.
Present.
Schulman.
Here.
Stevens.
Here.
Ong.
Present.
Vernikov. Williams.
Present.
Juan.
Present.
Zhuang.
Here.
Ariola.
Present.
Farias. Present. Speaker Adams.
Present.
We have a quorum. Thank you. We will now have today's invocation, which will be delivered by Rabbi David Niederman of United Jewish Organizations, located at 32 Penn Street in Brooklyn.
Good afternoon. Distinguished members of this honorable legislative body. Thank you for the opportunity to once again offer an invocation to the Chamber of Service, where every day you work for the benefit of all people of New York City. As we approach the Yom Kippur, the holiest day on the Jewish calendar, we enter a time of deep reflection and prayer, a time when we seek to mend what is broken and recommit ourselves to compassion, justice, and care for one another. It is a day when Jews gather in synagogues all over the world to pray for the well-being of the entire society, all of us together. It's especially appropriate today to recognize and thank Speaker Adriana Adams, whose leadership on this council has truly embodied the spirit of public service. Speaker Adams has been a powerful voice in support of the Jewish community, taking a firm stand against anti-Semitism and hate, so that our synagogues, yeshivas, and families can live and worship in safety and dignity. Thank you. We are deeply grateful to our local Congress members, Congressmember Lincoln Ressler and Councilmember Jennifer Gutierrez, for their unwavering partnership with the Speaker in support of the needs of the Williamsburg and North Brooklyn communities. Their advocacy has brought progress and protection and real partnership to all the residents. We thank them for standing with us. Thank you. As the Speaker prepares to conclude our service at this council, not only do we say thank you, but we also say we will miss you. Your integrity, vision, and unwavering commitment to all New Yorkers, especially to those too often forgotten, has left a lasting imprint on this chamber and in our own hearts. May Hashem, so we pray, may Hashem, the Almighty, inscribe the speaker and all members of this important body in the book of life for a year of good health, peace, and success, so that you can continue the vital services to all of us. May Hashem bless us all. Amen.
Just a reminder to folks in chambers, please silence your cell phones. Thank you, Rabbi Niederman. I'd now like to ask Councilmember Lincoln Ressler to spread the invocation on the record.
Thank you so much, Madam Majority Leader. And let me first just say Shana Tova and a happy and healthy and sweet New Year to all who are celebrating. Many may not realize, but today is a day of mourning for the Jewish community. Zom Gedalia is a day where many in the Jewish community fast from dawn until dusk. And so Rabbi Niederman, at the height of the High Holy Days, is here fasting, not a sip of water since sunrise this morning, to spend time with us and share his wisdom with the members of the City Council. I can say on behalf of Council Members Gutierrez and Osei, who share the privilege of representing Rabbi Niederman and the Satmar community, and Speaker Adams and Councilmember Brannon and so many others here who have been fortunate to develop deep bonds of friendship with Rabbi Niederman, that we are just grateful for this exceptional leader. Rabbi Niederman operates with the utmost integrity all the time. The only question he has is how he can help the community. And if you ever go and visit the offices of UJO, you will see lines out the door for people who are in need of assistance, and Rabbi Niederman and his team are always there to help. I am so pleased that we just recently broke ground on a brand new headquarters for UJO in Councilmember Gutierrez's district. We have a new food pantry that UJO is going to be operating that's going to be opening in the year ahead. There is so much good work happening thanks to Rabbi Niederman's exceptional leadership. But my favorite thing that we do every year is that Rabbi Niederman and I and leaders from the Latino and Black communities go in and speak to middle school students in District 14 about how we together can combat anti-Semitism. And I'm just grateful for Rabbi Niederman's moral leadership each and every day. So with that, I just want to thank you for being here, and I make a motion to spread today's invocation on the record. Thank you very much.
I'd like to recognize Councilmember Mealy for roll call.
Present.
Councilmember Morano.
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember Brooks Powers.
Present.
Thank you. Thank you. We will now ask Councilmember Jennifer Gutierrez for the adoption of minutes.
I make a motion that the minutes of the stated meeting of September 10th, 2025 be adopted as printed.
Messages and papers from the mayor.
None.
Communication from city, county, and borough offices.
None.
Petitions and communications.
None.
Land use call-ups.
M173 through M176.
Thank you. I now ask that the clerk take a roll call vote on today's land use call-ups.
Abreu.
Aye.
Aviles.
Aye.
Ayala.
Aye.
Banks.
Aye.
Botcher.
Aye.
Brannon.
Aye.
Brewer.
Yes.
Brooks Powers.
Permission to call up all my votes on general orders today.
Permission granted. Please disclose any disclosures as well. Thank you. I am disclosing on the record of the council proceedings that Queens Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is funded in the budget we are adopting, and I'm associated with that organization. And the YMCA is funded in the transparency resolution we are adopting, and my family and I are associated with that entity. And the New York City Department of Education, Ed School of the Arts, and Community Youth Care Services Incorporated are funded, and we are adopting transparency resolution, and my child is associated with those entities. With that, I vote aye on all items on today's agenda. Thank you. Thank you.
Kaban.
Aye.
Carr. Apologies, Councilmember Carr. De La Rosa.
Aye.
Dinowitz.
Aye.
Felder.
Aye.
Feliz.
Aye on all.
Thank you. Gennaro.
Aye.
Gutierrez.
Aye.
Hanif.
Aye.
Thank you. Hanks.
Aye.
Holden.
Aye.
Thank you. Hudson.
Aye.
Joseph.
Aye.
Krishnan.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Lewis. Mamarato.
Aye.
Marte.
Aye.
Mealy.
Aye.
Menin.
Aye.
Morano.
Aye.
Moya.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Narcisse.
Aye.
Nurse.
I vote aye.
Osei. Palladino.
Aye.
Thank you. Powers.
Aye.
Wrestler. Riley.
Aye.
Salam.
I vote aye.
Salamanca.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Schulman.
Aye.
Stevens.
Majority Leader, I would like to vote on all items on today's agenda.
Permission granted. Just state any disclosures.
Yes, I would like to disclose for the record that my daughter works at Presbyterian Hospital, and I vote aye on all items. Thank you.
Thank you. Ong.
Aye.
Vernikov. Williams.
I vote aye.
One.
Aye.
Zhuang.
Aye.
Thank you. Ariola.
I vote aye.
Farias.
I vote aye.
Speaker Adams.
Aye.
Today's land use call-ups are adopted by a vote of 46 in the affirmative and 0 in the negative. And we will now have communication from Speaker Adrian Adams.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader, and good afternoon, everyone. Over the last month, we've lost several New Yorkers in their workplaces, including 37-year-old Brandon Williams, a security guard in the Rockaways, 69-year-old Hector Reynoso Perez of Brooklyn, and a 58-year-old construction worker in Cypress Hills. My heart is with their families as they grieve the loss of their loved ones. And yesterday, 13-year-old Sanjay Samuel passed away. Sanjay was on his way to school near Springfield and Linden Boulevards when he was shot. This small child, just starting high school, aspiring to play basketball, should still be with us today, going to school, spending time with his family, and pursuing his passions of basketball and music. Instead, he was stolen from us by another horrific incident of gun violence, which harms too many of our communities, and I am heartbroken for his grieving mother and father, for his entire family and loved ones, and I do send them my love. We must do everything in our power to get guns off our streets, keep New Yorkers safe, and prevent these tragedies from happening. Last week, 44-year-old Isabel Alvarez, a construction worker, was fatally struck in South Ozone Park by a speeding and reckless driver on the Nassau Expressway. She was a beloved colleague and member of her community, and I pray for her loved ones as they manage this unthinkable loss. The same weekend, 2 pedestrians were struck by a driver near the Van Wyck Expressway and Liberty Avenue, leaving 1 New Yorker dead. And my love, my thoughts are with their families. We're keeping New Yorkers safe from traffic violence must be paramount, and the council will continue to prioritize taking actions that make our streets safer. I also want to recognize the passing of beloved Deidre Cheatham, who worked in the office of Councilmember Chris Banks. Deidre dedicated her life to public service, uplifting those around her with advocacy and outpouring of love. She leaves behind her 2 children, and I know that our hearts as a council go out to her family and Councilmember Banks' office during this very difficult time. Please join me in a moment of silence to honor the New Yorkers we have lost. Thank you. Colleagues, flu season is now upon us, and I do encourage New Yorkers to stay up to date on your flu and COVID vaccinations to protect yourselves and each other in this season. Public health requires our collective participation. This is especially critical as we face persistent misinformation and unfounded public health statements by federal government officials. September is National Recovery Month, when we uplift those who are in recovery from substance use disorder. We must continue to approach this crisis with solutions that center harm reduction, prevention and treatment, expanding access to care, especially in communities that are disproportionately affected by addiction and overdose deaths. Last Sunday was also National Opioid Awareness Day. We can keep each other and our communities safe by approaching substance abuse as an urgent matter of public health and safety, concentrating on public health solutions to this deadly crisis. Last Sunday was World Alzheimer's Day, a day to increase public awareness about Alzheimer's disease. So many of us have personal connections to this disease, including our own council member and Aging Committee Chair, Crystal Hudson. We thank Chair Hudson and all New Yorkers for their advocacy. As Rabbi Niedermeyer referenced, Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year for Jewish New Yorkers, begins on the evening of October 1st and ends on the 2nd. I wish all who are observing a meaningful and reflective Yom Kippur. Finally, colleagues, please join me in wishing a very happy birthday to our amazing Deputy Speaker, Diana Ayala, who had a birthday yesterday. Love bug. Councilmember Farrah Lewis, whose birthday is today. That's probably why we don't see her in the room. And Councilmember Chris Banks, whose birthday is on the 30th. Happy birthday. Now let's move on to our stated agenda. First, we'll vote on the following land use items. New York City Health and Hospitals Jacoby's Just Home. The council plans to approve a 99-year sublease of an existing 6-story building on the Jacoby campus to facilitate the development of a joint H&H and Fortune Society proposal to provide supportive housing for New Yorkers exiting the justice system with chronic and complex medical needs who would otherwise experience homelessness. The project would create 83 new homes, including 58 permanent supportive studio units for formerly incarcerated New Yorkers and 24 affordable units through NYC Housing Connect. This development will conclude on-site social services, 24-hour security, and around-the-clock staff. Just Home is a critical project that would help alleviate our dire housing crisis while advancing public safety. Despite the life-changing benefits this project would deliver, Mayor Adams and Randy Mastro have once again worked against our city's best interest to try blocking this affordable housing for New Yorkers. They requested postponement of the council's hearing on the project last week, less than 24 hours before its week-long scheduled date. And last night, their desperate last-ditch attempt came in the form of a ridiculous letter from Mr. Mastro, which carries no weight at all under the law. It's not only disgraceful, but shows a complete lack of knowledge of how city government works. H&H is a state-authorized public benefit corporation that is administered by its board of directors by law. The process related to this land use action under the law requires H&H to hold a public hearing with public notice and requires council approval. The H&H Board of Directors authorized the leasing of its property for this project. The board has taken no action to rescind this authorization, and so the council will vote on the board-approved resolution in accordance with the statutory process. Mr. Mastro's letter is indeed irrelevant. It is alarming that the mayor and his top official have revealed such incompetence and a lack of understanding in governing the city. And it is shameful that they're trying to block housing for New Yorkers. This all comes as Mayor Adams is trying to take away New Yorkers' power in development decisions with his misleading ballot proposals 2, 3, and 4, which would take away the public's voice and power of negotiation and give it to the mayor's office. He, his cronies, and his enablers have cynically disguised this power grab as a solution to the housing crisis by falsely blaming the council. But we will continue to tell the truth. This council has approved 93% of housing-related land use applications that have come to us, and we will approve even more today. Too many have been willing to accept a false narrative about who is blocking housing, but it could not be clearer. It is the mayor, this mayor, who is once again trying to block housing just as he did at Elizabeth Street Garden. New Yorkers want, this council wants, and deserves more housing for New Yorkers. The way to do that is not by placing more power with the mayor, because it leaves our city vulnerable to this kind of mayor or any other willing to trade away housing and our neighborhoods for politics and personal gain. We all want solutions, but there is a reason that the mayor's ballot proposals are not being presented in an honest way to voters. New Yorkers should be cautious about being misled into giving up their voice and their power. This council will once again play a constructive role in approving housing today, just as we have throughout the last 4 years. Now we'll also vote to approve the 1946 East 7th Street rezoning. It will facilitate the development of a new 7-story mixed-use building with 53 permanently income-restricting one-bedroom apartments for low-income seniors and community facility space in Councilmember Felder's district. The council is modifying the application and striking MIH option 2 and requiring MIH option 1. A landmark designation will be considered for the former Whitney Museum of American Art and former Whitney Museum of American Art Interior. Founded in 1929, this museum showcased contemporary American artists and was located on Madison Avenue until 2014, when it relocated to its current home in the Meatpacking District. The building is in Councilmember Powers' district. JFK Logistics Center demapping will facilitate the development of a new logistics warehouse in Majority Whitbrook's Powers district. Broadway Junction Station City Map Amendment will facilitate the expansion and improvement of the Broadway Junction subway station in Councilmember Nurse's district, provide new entry and exit points, more efficient passenger circulation, and further ADA accessibility. 350 Park Avenue, an application for special permits under the East Midtown Subdistrict of the Special Midtown District to facilitate the development of a new 1.4 million square foot commercial office tower and a ground floor public concourse in Councilmember Powers' district. 515 7th Avenue, an application for special permits to allow hotel development and a 20% FAR bonus in exchange for indoor public space to facilitate the development of a new 38-story commercial building and hotel tower in Councilmember Botcher's district. The council will also vote on 3 applications for revocable consent to operate a sidewalk cafe. Approving applications submitted by Lava Rock Kitchen in Majority Leader Farias's district, and disapproving those submitted by El Caldero Restaurant and Sports Bar in Councilmember Stevens' district, and Green Pavilion Restaurant and Sports Lounge in Councilmember Joseph's district. Next, we'll vote on the following finance items: a preconsidered resolution sponsored by Councilmember Justin Brannan, approving the new designations and changes in the designations of certain organizations to receive funding in the expense budget. Today, we'll vote on the following resolutions. Resolution 860, sponsored by Majority Leader Amanda Farias, calls on the Department of Citywide Administrative Services to develop and implement a qualifying practical exam for painters as part of the civil service testing process. We thank you to our staff members, Elizabeth Arts and Ree Ogusrawa. Resolution 854, sponsored by Councilmember Yusuf Salam, calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the Governor to sign S 40445 A2229, requiring the installation of intelligent speed assistance devices within vehicles of drivers who commit repeated violations of maximum speed limits. Thank you to our staff members, Josh Kingsley and Kevin Katowski. Resolution 718, sponsored by Councilmember Rita Joseph, calls on the New York State Education Department to adapt oral health education for elementary school students. Resolution 929A, sponsored by Councilmember Gail Brewer, calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the Governor to sign the Protect Our Schools Act. This state legislation would prohibit immigration enforcement activities in public school and charter school settings without a judicial warrant and restrict access to student records without a judicial order or subpoena. Thank you to our staff members Chloe Rivera, Jared Brust, and Rebecca Badilla. Next, we'll vote on the following legislation. Introduction 540A, sponsored by Councilmember Justin Brannan, would require the Office of Technology and Innovation to assess the feasibility of adopting a cloud computing policy for city technology systems and submit a report of the assessment results to the council. Thank you to staff members Irene Batovsky and Eric Brown. Introduction 429A, sponsored by Councilmember Pierina Sanchez, would require inspections of gas piping to be conducted by either a licensed master plumber or a licensed journeyman plumber working under their direct supervision. The bill would also amend the definition of emergency work to allow the repair of a plumbing system to protect the public from unsafe conditions or restore water to a building or dwelling unit. It will also expand the Department of Buildings' ability to seize equipment used for unlicensed work. Thank you to our staff members Austin Malone, Billy Eck, Jose Conde, and Dirk Spencer. Introduction 955A, sponsored by Councilmember Kevin Riley, would require the Department of Education and the Department of Youth and Community Development to each submit annual reports on the after-school programs they offer, as well as those offered by their respective contractors. Thank you, staff members Declan McPherson and Nadia Jean-Francois. Next, to mark Climate Week NYC, we will vote on several pieces of legislation to strengthen and streamline environmental planning in our city. Introduction 1271A, sponsored by Councilmember James Gennaro, would require the Office of Long-Term Planning and Sustainability to solicit input from the Environmental Justice Advisory Board regarding the development of the Long-Term Sustainability Plan, otherwise known as Plan NYC. Introduction 1302, also sponsored by Councilmember Gennaro, would streamline the city's environmental planning efforts by requiring the Office of Long-Term Planning and Sustainability to incorporate the Long-Term Energy Plan and Climate Adaptation Plan within its quadrennial update to Plan NYC. And Introduction 1327A, also sponsored by Councilmember Gennaro, would streamline the stormwater permitting process by allowing developers to obtain a stormwater construction permit before executing and recording a maintenance easement. Thank you to our staff members Natasha Bynum, Sierra Townsend, Andrew Bourne, and Ricky Chawla. Introduction 1034A, sponsored by Councilmember Julie Menin, would require the relevant city agencies to provide notices to tenants in connection with renewals for senior citizen and disability rent increase exemptions, SCREE and DREE. Landlords would also be notified about eligibility for real property tax abatements and eligibility for exemptions from payments in lieu of taxes for certain properties occupied by senior citizens or persons with disabilities. Thank you to our staff members Austin Malone, Billy Eck, Jose Conde, and Dirk Spencer. Introduction 780A, sponsored by Councilmember Sandy Nurse, would allow safe and sick time under the city's Earned Safe and Sick Time Act to be used to provide care for a child or care recipient, attend a legal proceeding for public benefits or housing, respond to a public disaster, or respond to workplace violence. This bill would also provide an additional 32 hours of unpaid safe and sick time under ESSTA, which would be available for use immediately upon hire and subsequently on the first day of each calendar year. Thank you to our staff member, Sarah Swain. And Introduction 621A, also sponsored by Councilmember Nurse, would expand the definition of tenant harassment to include unlawful evictions. Thank you to our staff members, Elliot Heisler, Austin Malone, Billy Eck, Dirk Spencer, and Jose Conde. Thank you for your attention. Now I turn it back over to our Majority Leader.
Thank you, Speaker Adams. We will now move into discussion of general orders, and I'd like to first recognize Councilmember Marmorato, followed by Riley, then Sanchez.
Thank you. At a time when the Council is fighting to preserve the principle of member deference, I stand before you for the third time in my first term with a land use matter in my district. Each time I have been forced to defend not just a project, but the right of a member to represent their community and to honestly and honestly and integrity. If we claim to care about deference, then we must practice it across the board. We cannot say one thing publicly and then act differently when personal feelings are at stake. That's not democracy, it's hypocrisy. The administration has already committed to relocating this project and expanding housing at the Jacoby campus. That is a compromise. That is what governing looks like. To vote yes on this today is to ignore the work and ignore the very principle that this body claims to defend. And if the council cared so much about housing, this would not have sat here for over a year. We need to keep that in mind. So I truly believe in member deference. If we truly believe in democracy, then we must honor both. And that means voting no to LU 363. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Riley, followed by Sanchez, then Nurse.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today, with my bill Intro 955A, we affirm the value of our after-school programs as pillars of learning, safety, and community. This bill strengthens our city's commitment by requiring the New York City Public Schools and DYCD to provide clear annual reports on program locations, available seats, enrollment, demographics, and attendance, so we can see where programs thrive, where gaps exist, and how to direct resources more equitable. By focusing on equity and language access, 955A ensures families receive information in the languages they speak at home, while holding agencies accountable for reaching every scholar, especially those too often left behind. I want to thank the advocates, providers, and families who helped shape this legislation, and my colleagues who co-sponsored it. Equity in education doesn't stop at dismissal. It carries into the after-school hours where young people discover passion, grow skills, and build their futures. I urge your support today, and I look forward to continuing this work with all of you to expand opportunities for our youth and strengthen families through transparency and accountability. Thank you so much, Majority Leader.
Recognizing Councilmember Sanchez, followed by Nurse, then Menon.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Intro 429A will improve safety standards for inspection and maintenance of gas systems in 3 ways. First, it will strengthen gas piping inspections by raising the bar for who can do an inspection and expand the scope of what is inspected. Second, it will expand emergency work to include unsafe plumbing conditions that could endanger the public. And third, the legislation will codify existing Department of Buildings practice by explicitly stating that the replacement of domestic gas appliances like ranges, stoves, and ovens must be performed by a licensed master plumber. I want to be clear on this point, as there has been misinformation shared in the public, that rather than add a new requirement, this third component eliminates ambiguities with an essential clarification that gas work must be performed by a licensed master plumber, not you and I. LMPs are registered with and are regularly required to file their work with the Department of Buildings. This important clarification codifies the existing practice and is a recognition of the dangerous nature of gas work. Furthermore, Intro 429 aligns with the proposed changes to the existing building codes. Intro 1321, which is before the council, came from a consensus-driven process that began in 2014, was shaped by trade experts, building owner representatives, and city agencies. Finally, I just off the topic, but want to extend a special shout out to Carla Dominguez, our legislative fellow, who's been instrumental in supporting the work of our office. Your attention to detail and commitment to excellence has made us better. Thank you for everything you did. We can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Nurse, followed by Menon, then Gennaro.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Colleagues, I'm asking for your support on Intro 780A and Intro 621. Collectively, these bills work to support workers and tenants. As the Trump administration escalates their attacks on workers and on our social safety net, it's on us to not only safeguard the protections we have in the city for our people, but to also win more. In that spirit, today we are voting on the first bill in my No Lockouts Act. Intro 621 will allow thousands of tenants who've endured illegal evictions to hold bad landlords accountable. When landlords break the law and families are unlawfully evicted, they are rendered homeless and often for years. Intro 621 adds unlawful evictions to our city's harassment code and makes it easier for tenants to bring their cases to housing court. We're also voting on Intro 780, which will give more than 3 million covered workers 32 additional hours or 4 days of safe and sick time to attend housing or public benefits hearings, address workplace harassment, or care for their children's educational needs. I want to thank my team, the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, Legal Aid, A Better Balance, and then the many housing groups working hard to keep people in safe and dignified housing. I ask everyone to vote yes. Thank you, Majority Leader.
Recognizing Councilmember Menon, followed by Gennaro, then Deputy Speaker Ayala.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Intro 1034 would direct the Department of Finance to notify landlords that their tenants may be eligible for Senior Citizen Rent Increase Exemption, SCRE, and Disability Rent Increase Exemption, DRE, while providing property tax abatements in return. SCRE and DRE are critical programs our council created that have New York City cover the difference between what you pay and what your landlord could legally charge you through a tax abatement credit. While over 135,000 households are eligible for the city's rent freeze program, only 61,260 are currently enrolled in both programs. How can New Yorkers know about a vital rent freeze program to keep them in their homes if they don't know if it exists? My bill ensures that the city increases awareness of SCRE and DRE that will benefit our older adult population and persons with disabilities. I want to thank drafter Jesse Fong and from my team, Jonathan Shutt, Brandon Jordan, Jack LaBelle, and Mercedes Anderson. Thank you. I vote aye. Thanks.
Recognizing Councilmember Gennaro, followed by Deputy Speaker Ayala.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Good afternoon and happy Climate Week, everyone. I'm honored to take this opportunity to talk about one of the three bills that I'm putting forward today. I don't have time to talk about all three of them, but all of which aim to advance New York City's climate resiliency. Intro 1271 talks about the Environmental Justice Advisory Board. Climate change does not impact every community equally. Low-income neighborhoods and communities of color often bear the greatest burdens. The Environmental Justice Advisory Board, known as EJAB, brings together advocates, academics, and public health experts to speak for those communities. The EJAB advises the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice, known as MOCEJ, on all EJ matters. And MOCEJ also facilitates the production of Plan YC with the Sustainability Advisory Board, but the EJAB does not play a formal role in the Plan YC process. Now it will. This bill would create a significant role for EJAB in the Plan YC process. It would require MOCEJ to formally consult with the EJAB during the drafting of Plan YC, making sure that equity and justice are not just an afterthought, but central to our city's long-term sustainability strategy. It would elevate EJAB and codify the requirement for multiple EJ voices into the Plan YC process. And all three bills reflect the Council's commitment to a greener, healthier, and more resilient and environmentally just New York City. I thank my colleagues. I certainly particularly thank the Speaker, and I urge my fellow members to join me in voting yes today on these good bills. Happy Climate Week.
Recognizing Deputy Speaker Ayala.
Thank you. I wanted to speak about the land use application 363. So as a member of this body, I've always both publicly and privately supported member deference. I have, however, also understood that some communities have not been doing their fair share, while the rest of us continue to take on development projects and have been, in some cases, bullied by the administration to accept an unfair share of programs and services. Having said that, I plan to vote yes on land use application 363, not because I'm being hypocritical, but rather because the reason of the community simply not wanting it is not a reason. The individuals who would benefit from this type of housing on hospital campus is intended for very ill, formerly incarcerated folks that, according to the district member, would be so ill that they would require transportation to the actual hospital across the street. They pose no public safety concern, and I cannot support a conversation where we will be moving these folks out of sight, out of mind to an area that is more isolated, that quite frankly, the state hasn't even agreed to transfer over because they actually have other plans for that site. So that site is not even available, it should be off the table, and it would be disingenuous to imply that there is an alternative location when there in fact is not. So I plan on voting yes, and I urge my fellow colleagues to do so as well. I remind you that this November, there will be some proposals on the ballot that look to strip your ability, because I won't be here, of deciding on these land use applications. And while this is not a rule, right? You're not automatically entitled 100% say on what gets developed in some cases. It is an important ruling, and I think that the fact that the mayor is saying that we won't build and that we don't build should be weighing heavily on your minds when you're rejecting projects, specifically projects that really benefit the public in the way that this one would. Thank you.
Seeing no one else signed up to speak. Report of special committees.
None.
Report of standing committees.
Report of the Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection, Intro 780A, Earned, Safe, and Sick Time Act.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Education, Intro 955A, After School Programs.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Environmental Protection, Resiliency, and Waterfronts, Intros 1271A, 1302A, and 1327A, Sustainability Plans and Stormwater Management.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Finance, Preconsidered Reso 1059, Transparency Resolution.
Coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Housing and Buildings, Intro 429A, Plumbing Systems.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Intro 621A, Tenant Harassment.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Intro 1034A, Rent Increase and Property Tax Abatements.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Land Use, LU 343 and Reso 1068 through LU 363 and Reso 1074, various applications.
Coupled on general orders.
LU 379 and Reso 1075 and LU 381 and Reso 1077, Sidewalk Cafes.
Motion to disapprove.
LU 380 and Reso 1076, Sidewalk Cafe.
Coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Technology, Intro 540A, Cloud Computing Policy.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
General Orders Calendar, LU 347 and Reso 1078 through LU 355 and Reso 1081, various rezonings.
Coupled on general orders, I now ask that the clerk take a roll call vote on all of the items coupled on today's general orders calendar.
Abreu.
I vote aye.
Aviles.
Aye.
Ayala.
Aye.
Banks.
Aye.
Botcher.
Aye.
Brannan.
Aye.
Brewer.
I'm going to vote aye. I do want to mention also about Just Home and Fortune Society. I remember when David Rothenberg started this organization. Stanley Richards does a great job in continuing. I think partly the reason I'm supportive is it is one hell of a great nonprofit. Right near me on 97th Street, 3 blocks from my house, they are renovating an SRO for a population that is probably more active than those that are going into Just Home, but I am completely supportive despite people from the neighborhood complaining. There are also 25 units, priority for the neighborhood. I just hope if people are upset about it, go to the castle in West Harlem. Community Board 9 meets there every month. It is a glorious, fabulous, prioritized building. And I would say that that would be an example of the kind of work that would be going on at this location. This population cannot go safely to the DHS shelters. They just can't handle them. They're sick, they need support, and they will get it from the Fortune Society. There will be no hanging out. There'll be no smoking in the front. There'll be no challenges for the community. So I vote aye. Please go see the castle. Thank you very much.
Kaban.
Aye on all.
Carr.
Permission to vote on land use call-ups, as well as general order calendar items. Thank you.
Permission granted.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I vote no on land use items 347, 348, and 363 with accompanying resolutions 1078, 1079, and 1074, as well as pre-considered resolution 1059, introduction 780A, 1271A. And I'd like to disclose on the record that in the transparency resolution we're voting on, the Jewish Community Center of Staten Island and also Garibaldi Meucci Museum are funded in this resolution, and I am associated with those entities. Thank you. And I own the rest.
Thank you. De La Rosa.
I would like to disclose on the record that my partner is an employee at the Fortune Society, and I would like to vote aye on all. Thank you.
Thank you. Dinowitz.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you. You know, the votes we take in this body are very heavy. They're very impactful to the lives of New Yorkers. And I know I couldn't make these very heavy decisions without a lot of help. And for the past year, I've had a lot of help from my legislative fellow, Theo Solter, whose last day is tomorrow. So I just want to publicly thank him for all the incredible work he has done under the stewardship of my legislative director, Adam Starpoli. And with that, I vote aye on all except LU 348 and accompanying resolutions 1079, where I abstain.
While that's being recorded, just a reminder to the rest of the members to submit your disclosures prior to your vote, and you want to make any fellow shout outs, please save that for general discussion.
Felder.
Yeah, I vote aye on all except for LU 347, LU 348, Reso 1078, 1079, and 854-A. On those, I vote no.
Thank you, Councilman. Feliz.
Aye on all.
Thank you. Gennaro.
Aye.
Gutierrez.
Aye.
Hanif.
Aye.
Thank you. Hanks.
Pardon me. I vote aye on all with the exception of 363, 347, and 348, and their accompanying resos and aye on all the rest. Thank you.
Holden.
Aye on all except LUs 47, 348, and accompanying resos 1078 and 1079. LU 3633 and accompanying 1074, considered reso 1059, and intro 1271A, of which I vote no. And I'd like to disclose on the record that my son was at New York Presbyterian Hospital, and my other son works at CUNY, of which we're funding today's hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Hudson.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
Thank you so much. The Just Home Plan, a proposal to build supportive housing for formerly incarcerated New Yorkers living with serious health conditions, would provide more than 80 units on the Jacobi Hospital campus in the Bronx, offering both stable housing and critical medical support to vulnerable individuals. Housing is health care, and it is also the foundation for successful reentry. Denying these New Yorkers a safe place to live and recover is not just short-sighted, it is cruel. For years, the Adams administration claimed to support this plan, and now, at the 11th hour, the mayor is abandoning it, not because the facts have changed, but because he sees an opportunity to score political points ahead of his reelection. That is not leadership. Real leadership is what we've seen from Speaker Adrian Adams, and from this body, as the council has made clear that we will not allow politics to stand in the way of housing, especially not housing for vulnerable individuals. Thank you, Speaker Adams, for your leadership in standing up for the most vulnerable and moving forward with the Just Home Plan. New Yorkers deserve leadership rooted in compassion and a commitment to justice. And just to be clear, the charter revision proposal that's been referred to by several folks to me is not simply about member deference as much as it is about allowing the body of the City Council to be empowered to make decisions in the best interest of all New Yorkers, and that is exactly what we are doing here today. And lastly, I'd like to disclose on the record that the Brooklyn Academy of Music is being funded in the Transparency Resolution, and I'm affiliated with that entity, and I vote aye on all. Thank you.
Joseph.
I vote aye on all, and on the record, I'd like to disclose that in this budget, where Transparency Reso, we're funding New York City Public School, and my son is a student. Thank you.
Krishnan.
Aye on all, and just disclosing that we are funding the Department of Education, where two of my children are students. Thank you.
Lee.
I'd like to disclose for the record that in this Transparency Reso, we are funding Department of Education, of which both my sons are there, and then H&H, of which my husband is an employee. And I vote aye on all with the exception of LU 363, LU 347, and LU 348, for which I abstain.
Thank you. Lewis. Mamarato.
I vote aye on all with the exception of LU 363, accompanying Resolution 1047, Reso 1059, and Intro 780A and 1271A. I vote no.
Marte.
I vote aye on all except LU 363, which I abstain.
Mealy.
I vote no on LU 363 and Reso 1074, and aye on all.
Menon.
Aye on all.
Morano.
I vote aye on all with the exception of LUs 347 and 348 and accompanying resolutions 1078 and 1079, and LU 363 and accompanying resolution 1074, as well as Intro 780A, 1271A. On those, I vote no.
Thank you.
And, excuse me, and a no on
1059.
Reso 1059. Apologies.
Thank you. For disclosure purposes, Councilmember Aviles.
Yes, I'd like to disclose for the record that my daughter is a student in the New York City Public Schools.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
I'd like to disclose on the record that my child is also associated with the Department of Education.
Thank you. Moya.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Narcisse.
I vote aye on all except abstain on 347, LU 347, LU 348, accompanying Resolution 1078 and 1079. And I want to disclose that my partner worked at NYU Langone as an independent physician.
Thank you. Nurse.
Permission to make my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank everybody who is supporting the Just Home project today. And I want to thank the speaker and the deputy speaker for standing up for this project. I just cut a ribbon on a justice impactive supportive housing program, a project in my district a few weeks ago, and I've already started building a relationship with the organization, and I'm really, really looking forward to welcoming those residents home into our community. And I really hope that the member for the Just Home project embraces Fortune Society and works with them and gets to know the people who are going to be living there, who are, in most cases, dying. And to look to them as people who need our sympathy and care. So I vote aye on all, and I want to dedicate my vote to the Just Home project to Randy Mastro.
Osei. Palladino.
I vote no on LU 347, 348, accompanying Rezos 1078 and 1079. I would also like to vote no on 363 and accompanying Reso 1074. That is the Just Home project. I'd also like to vote no on preconsidered Rezos 1059, Transparency Reso 780, and 1271A. I'm also just want to express my doubt in intro 621A, where once again, we are looking at stripping the landlords even more so than they have already been stripped of their rights, in which I'd like to vote no. I just made my decision. So I'm voting no on 621A as well. And your aye on all the rest.
Thank you, Councilmember. Powers.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Wrestler.
I will vote aye on all and just add that supportive housing is the evidence-based solution to chronic homelessness. And we need a lot more of it all across the city in every single neighborhood. And I'm grateful for the leadership of the council in advancing this worthy project today. And I hope that it will inspire every member to identify opportunities in their district for us to build more supportive housing because we desperately need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Riley.
I just want to state for the record, we are funding the DOE and the YMCA, and my family are associated with that entity. And I vote aye on all with the exception of intro 429A, which I'm a no.
Thank you. Salam.
I'd like to disclose for the record that my family is associated with the YMCA, and I'm an aye on all.
Salamanca.
I would like to disclose on the record that my family is also associated with the YMCA, and the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation is funded in the budget. The resolution that we're adopting, and my wife is associated with this entity, and I vote aye on all.
Thank you. Sanchez.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Our city is in the midst of a dire housing crisis, one that falls hardest on marginalized New Yorkers. And the Just Home project will provide stable, dignified housing for people returning home from Rikers with serious health conditions, a population that too often is pushed to the margins with nowhere safe to go. As leaders, it is our duty to ensure that all New Yorkers have access to dignified housing options embedded in every community. But for too long, some neighborhoods have resisted, doing their fair share to produce housing, and even more so for marginalized groups, deepening inequities across our city. It's disappointing to see the mayor backtrack on his support for this vital project, and I associate myself with Speaker Adams' comments on the matter. Because by voting to affirm Just Home today, our council is standing for a city where everyone, including those returning home with health needs, has a real chance at stability, dignity, and belonging. With that, I vote aye on all.
Thank you. One moment. Schulman.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. First, I want to echo Councilmember Brewer's remarks regarding Just Home and the Fortune Society. Just Home was conceived in 2017 by the Fortune Society. At the time, my late partner, Adelaide Knorton, worked as a senior entitlement specialist there. She was excited about this program to help those coming out of Rikers Island who had special health needs. Today, Just Home is coming to fruition thanks to Stanley Richards and all the Fortune staff involved in this project. Yesterday was Adelaide's birthday, and in honor of her and my second family at Fortune, I vote aye on this and the other items on today's agenda.
Thank you. Ung.
Aye on all.
Vernikov.
Permission to vote on land use call-ups.
Permission granted.
I vote no on LU 347, 348, 363, and accompanying resos 1078, 1079, and 1074. I vote no on preconsidered reso 1059, and no on intros 780A and 1271A, and aye on the rest. Thank you.
Thank you. Williams.
I want to disclose for the record that I am associated with the Queens Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and CUNY, and with that, I vote aye on all.
Thank you. One.
Aye on all.
Thank you. Zhuang.
I want to disclose on the record, my two kids go to public school, which we found in the reso today, and also my family is associated with Marks JCH of Bensonhurst. And I want to vote yes on everything, except I want to abstain in LU 347, 348, 363. Abstain. Thank you.
Thank you. Ariola.
I'd like to disclose for the record that my son is an employee of the DSNY, an agency being funded in today's transparency resolution. I'd also like to align myself with Councilmember Mamarato's statement regarding the Just Home. I think that it's a little blurry here because what we haven't realized is that although there were other entities trying to push something, we have a member who's dealt fairly and honestly regarding this project and wanted it in other places, and just not where it is because the community didn't want it, the people that she represents. Just want to go on the record for that. My vote is no on land use items 347, 348, accompanying resos 1078 and 1079, 363, and accompanying resos 1074, pre-considered resolution 1059, intros 780A, and 1271A. Thank you.
Farias.
I vote aye on all.
Speaker Adams.
Aye on all.
We are just calculating all the votes and checking, so just give us a few moments. All items on today's general order calendar are adopted by a vote of 48 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, with the exception of Intro 780A, which was adopted by 42 in the affirmative, 6 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, and Introduction 1271A, which was adopted by 41 in the affirmative, 7 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, and Resolution 1059, which was adopted by a vote of 41 in the affirmative, 7 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, and LU 347, and Resolution 1078, which was adopted by 37 in the affirmative, 8 in the negative, and 3 abstentions, and LU 348 and Resolution 1079, which was adopted by a vote of 36 in the affirmative, 8 in the negative, and 4 abstentions, and LU 363 and accompanying Resolution 1074, which was adopted by a vote of 36 in the affirmative, 9 in the negative, and 3 abstentions, and Introduction 621A and Intro 429A, which were adopted by a vote of 47 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, and 0 abstentions. And lastly, the revised land use call-up vote is 48 in the affirmative and 0 in the negative. Introduction and reading of bills.
All bills have been referred to committee as indicated on today's agenda.
Thank you, Speaker. We will now move into discussion of resolutions, and I'd like to first recognize Councilmember Brewer, followed by Joseph.
Thank you very much. I'm calling about 929 of 2025. It's the Protect Our Schools Act, sponsored in the Assembly by Assemblymember Catalina Cruz. It would protect students, faculty, and staff from civil immigration arrest while attending school or in school-related activities. It will prohibit all public and charter schools from allowing law enforcement officials inside the schools to access students except to address an imminent safety situation or if they have a judicial warrant. The bill would restrict access to student records containing immigration status, aiming to ensure that law enforcement cannot use school resources to target undocumented students. We are, in New York, a place of refuge. We must uphold that promise by ensuring every immigrant has the protections they deserve. And I would hope that Dylan Lopez Contreras would not have been arrested as he has been and sent elsewhere if this bill was in effect. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Joseph.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Resolution 718, call on New York State Department of Education to implement oral health education for all elementary school students. New York State Department of Health recommend that oral hygiene practice begin at birth and that toothbrushing should start as soon as children's first tooth appears. By teaching children dental hygiene early, we can help them develop lifelong habits of regular brushing and flossing, promoting oral health from adolescent through adulthood. Through this resolution, we're urging the New York State Department of Education to adopt oral health education in elementary schools to ensure children learn proper brushing and flossing techniques. I invite all of my colleagues to vote yes. Thank you, Majority Leader.
Thank you. Seeing no one else signed up for discussion of resolutions, we will now have a voice vote on today's resolutions. If you wish to vote against or abstain from any of today's resolutions, please notify the Legislative Documents Unit by email or by approaching the dais. I'll now read today's resolutions into the record. Resolution 718 calls on the New York State Education Department to adopt oral health education for all elementary school students. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 854A calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the New York State Governor to sign Senate Bill number 4045 and Assembly Bill number 2299, requiring the installation of intelligent speed assistance devices for repeated violations of maximum speed limits. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 860 calls on the New York City Department of Citywide Administrative Services to develop and implement a qualifying practical exam for painters as part of the civil service testing process. All those in favor say aye. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Lastly, Resolution 929A calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the Governor to sign Assembly Bill Number 5373A and Senate Bill Number 4735B, known as the Protect Our Schools Act, in relation to protecting students, faculty, and staff from civil arrest while attending or participating in school activities. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. We will now move into general discussion, and I'd like to first recognize Councilmember Caban, followed by Joseph, then Morano.
Thank you. I'm proud to be introducing the Delivery Protection Act today. The Delivery Protection Act is a historic public safety and labor bill. It's about making sure New Yorkers have safe streets and a safe workplace. It's about delivering dignity and respect to every worker in the last mile delivery industry. None of this would be possible without our steadfast partners, the Teamsters, the Central Labor Council, Amazon Labor Union IBT1, RWDSU, Align, and our 24 and counting wonderful co-sponsors in this room. So thank you. Just a few hours ago, I was proud to rally with the Teamsters, community members, street safety advocates, warehouse and delivery workers, elected leaders like Comptroller Brad Lander, and labor leaders like Thomas Gesualdi, president of Teamsters Joint Council 16, in support of the Delivery Protection Act. Today's introduction is not just legislation, it's a commitment that New York City will always stand with working people. Because billionaires don't run this city, workers do. So if you haven't signed on as a co-sponsor, I invite you to do so. Thank you. Thanks, appreciate it.
Folks exiting the chambers, please exit quietly. Recognizing Councilmember Joseph, followed by Morano, then Salam.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today I'm proud to introduce Reso 1063, which designate November 12th each year as Sigma Gamma Rho Day in New York City. The resolution recognizes the sorority's unwavering commitment to sisterhood, scholarship, service, and its positive impact on communities across the city, the country, and beyond. Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated, known as Sigma, is a non-for-profit Black Greek letter organization made up of college women, educated women dedicated to uplifting their community through service, advocacy, and education. The organization lives by the motto, greater service, greater progress. Its mission is clear: to enhance the quality of life for women and their families. Yes, I am incredibly proud to be a member of the Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated. I invite all of my colleagues to join me in supporting this resolution to ensure swift passage. To my sisters who are watching the stated meeting remotely, thank you. I am honored to raise my voice here and introduce this resolution as a proud member of this great and prestigious organization. Above all, I am grateful to be your sister. And finally, thank you to my team, Central staff, for their support in drafting this legislation. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Dinowitz, followed by Morano, then Salam.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I think a lot of us growing up in this country or who emigrated to this country were told, you play by the rules, you do the right thing, you go to school, you get a job, and you'll do better for yourself and for your family, right? That's what I was told growing up, and I think it's certainly true for all of us in this room. Our president doesn't seem to believe the same thing. We just learned yesterday that the judge ordered the deportation of Dylan Contreras, a high school student who has spent over 4 months in detention. And for doing what? For doing exactly what we ask everyone to do. He came to this country seeking asylum. He enrolled in school, got a job to help take care of himself and his family, and attended his regularly scheduled asylum hearing in Manhattan, and was picked up by ICE. And all I ask is this: if you're a person who believes in that American dream and that values, and I'm particularly talking to my friends who are otherwise sympathetic to our president's views on immigration, that when you have a policy that impacts the very people who are working hard, the very people who are playing by the rules, who are trying to do exactly what we ask of them, when they are caught up in our president's exercising his, let's call it oversight over ICE, for lack of a better term, that we support the people who are at least are doing everything right. Because what happened to Dylan is a travesty. And it should not happen to anyone and all of our children who are doing everything right in this country. I ask my friends on the right to speak up against this travesty. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Morano, followed by Salam, then Hanks.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Colleagues, today I'm proud to officially introduce Intro 1398, a bill that simply puts power back where it belongs with the people through their elected council members. Right now, as all of you know, when we nominate our neighbors to serve on community boards, those nominations can be quietly vetoed or ignored by a borough president. This bill changes that. It allows each council member to directly appoint up to half of the members of their local community board, ensuring real accountability and a fairer process. And if you look at the coalition already behind this idea, we've got Republicans and Democrats, we've got moderate Democrats, progressive Democrats, we've got men and women, younger and older, people of different ethnicities, backgrounds, even different sexual orientations. And we've got prime sponsors from 4 different boroughs. If there was ever a picture of a big tent, this is it. And I think that should tell you something. It should tell you that this isn't about ideology. It isn't about borough turf wars. It's about common sense. It's about fairness. And it's about making sure the people we represent have a real seat at the table when decisions get made about their parks, schools, and streets. And remember, even if we pass this, all it really does is allow the voters to decide at the ballot box whether or not to adopt this change. This is a democratic way to improve democracy. What could be more reasonable than letting the people have the final say? Imagine the message we could send if not just a handful of us, but all 51 members of this body signed on. It would show New Yorkers that this body knows a good idea when we see one, and that sometimes, yes, government can get it right. So I invite you to join me in sponsoring Intro 1398. Let's send that powerful message together, and let's finally give our communities the voice they deserve. And listen, if you don't like who I appoint, you can take it up with my boss, the voters. Trust me, they already let me know when the garbage pickup's late, so I think I can handle it. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Salam, followed by Hanks, then Brewer.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today I'm honored to introduce a slew of legislative proposals that reflect Harlem's heartbeat. Today we have a chance to honor our past and shape our future. First, through Resolution 1065, we propose to designate June 11th as Charles B. Rangel Day, enshrining in our city's calendar the legacy of a man who fought tirelessly for civil rights, tax fairness, and urban revitalization. The Lion of Lenox Avenue led Harlem and America for over 4 decades. Our children, our grandchildren, in fact, should know this man and should know his work and his name. But these proposals are not only about honoring history, they are about protecting our people today. Our FOIL compliance bill through Intro 1402 brings transparency to the NYPD. Our juvenile interrogation resolution, Resolution 1067, protects children from coercion. Our co-op and condo resolution through Resolution 1066 ensures tenants and shareholders can fight bad faith boards without being locked out by arbitrary time limits. Our labor and human rights bill, Intro 1401, keeps taxpayer dollars from funding exploitation. And our transit and equality study bill, Intro 1403, dares to ask how we can make fairer for working class New Yorkers. I'm asking my colleagues to sign on to these proposals, to vote yes for them, and to help make Harlem's call for justice heard across all 5 boroughs. Together, let us honor Charles B. Rangel legacy, not with just words, but with action. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Hanks, followed by Brewer, then Ressler.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Colleagues, I am introducing Resolution 1062, calling on the state to pass the Right to Your Own Image Act. I would invite you to become a co-sponsor, as this technology and artificial intelligence now makes it possible to replicate a person's face, voice, name, or likeness without consent. This raises serious concerns about privacy, identity theft,
reputational harm and exploitation. So this legislation would give New Yorkers greater control over their images and their identities, and it reflects our responsibility as a council to stand up for fairness, dignity, and protection in the digital age. By adding New York's voice to this conversation, we can help Albany and the governor to act now. Please join me to co-sponsor. Thank you so much, Madam Majority Leader.
Recognizing Councilmember Brewer, followed by Ressler.
Thank you very much. I would like to introduce Brianna McDonald, who is with us this semester. She's from the Hunter Sievelman School of Social Work, and Miller Schulman, who has been an Al Van Fellow and absolutely awesome. This is unfortunately his last week, his last stated, and I want to thank Madam Speaker for the Al Van program. I think Al Van is looking down at us. I served with him and loving this program and the extraordinary people who have been part of it. Thank you very much to both of you.
Recognizing Councilmember Ressler.
Thank you so much, Madam Majority Leader. You know, when there's garbage on the sidewalk, the Department of Sanitation makes sure to tell the property owner that it's their responsibility. When the sidewalk is uneven or a tripping hazard, the Department of Transportation makes sure to let the property owner know it's their responsibility. When a tree root is, messing with, has grown and is messing with the sidewalk, the Department of Parks is sure to let the property owner know it's their responsibility. But when the Office of Technology and Innovation comes and installs a 32-foot tower on your sidewalk, they don't even have the courtesy to let you know. There is no notification whatsoever by OTI when they install 32-foot towers on your property. That's bonkers. It doesn't make any sense. And so I'm proud today to introduce legislation, there's a number associated with it that I don't know, with Councilmember Gutierrez, our distinguished chair of our Fine Technology Committee, that would require a notification process for every resident that lives within 500 feet of a tower. We need this 5G technology. I'm not trying to stop it. I'm happy for it to get installed somewhere. But it's time for the Adams administration and OTI to engage our communities and find locations that make sense. We've all dealt with a bunch of feedback from constituents who are really pissed that all of a sudden a 32-foot tower got installed outside their window in front of their entrance to their building, and nobody told them about it until it's already there. That's not the way things should work. We should have a proper notification process, have an opportunity to give comments and feedback, and then have OTI work with the council member to find the best locations in the immediate vicinity to ensure that we have the 5G infrastructure we need without negatively impacting our neighborhood. And I want to thank the clerk. Intro 1400 is the number. That's a very good round number, easy to remember. So I hope you all sign on as co-sponsors. Intro 1400, and have a nice day.
We love an expeditious result from the dais. Seeing no one else signed up to speak, I'll now call on Speaker Adrian Adams to close today's stated meeting.
Thank you, Majority Leader. The stated meeting of September 25th, 2025 is hereby adjourned.